I'm going to request Mridula to have a conversation with Shri Shivam, and I'll explain what that concept is all about. And then, of course, requesting our President-elect, Shri Umesh Jalan, to coordinate the question and answers, as well as conclude the meeting at the end. And of course, there'll be enough time for Q&A. And just as a matter of introduction, because as most of you know, and I've explained it many times, our goal this year is to focus on 4 E's. The first E is, of course, education. The second is empowerment. And I think we are doing a lot of work in the social sector, as all of us know. And the third is enlightenment. And we are trying to get a number of speakers who have done a fair amount of research in terms of what makes living more fruitful. And we will feature them right through the year, and starting, of course, with Shri Shivam today. And the fourth is, of course, entertainment, and which we started off even in the installation with a very wonderful performance by Rajiv Vaishnav and Pradeep Udas. And that will again continue through the year. And just as a little background, Mridula herself has been a speaker in our club, some of you will recall, last year. And she has been a success story both in the corporate sector and in terms of entrepreneurship and what she does in leadership training, etc. And she introduced me actually to Shri Shivam, and we had this wonderful meeting in Pune when he was here last. So Shri Shivam is actually set up the Shivoham Foundation, which is obviously a not-for-profit, but is doing real work both in terms of empowerment and in giving people meaning in their lives. So when I had a discussion with him, he was talking about 2 areas which I will mention. One, of course, is for entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurs can really get a new meaning to their lives and achieve all their goals. And leading from that, I think the whole concept of joyous living, because I think we are, as we all know, living in a very stressed world, stressed times, stressed family situations sometimes. And his whole theme is that, look, there are ways in which people can aspire to and achieve joyous living. So that was the broad theme we chose for today's session. So Mridula, over to you, and I'd request you to introduce Shri Shivam more fully, introduce yourself, and then, of course, just get started on the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ganesh, and thank you, everybody. It's such an honor and privilege to be here. And today is very special in so many ways. Today also is Guru Purnima, and Shri Shivamji is my Guru. So what an honor to be able to initiate this session. And I'm really excited to see your themes also, Ganesh, education, empowerment, enlightenment, and entertainment. And they are just so aligned with the kind of work that we are doing at Shivoham Foundation, and also how we are aligned in the philosophy. So I would start just with a stuti towards the Guru, for all Gurus of the world, particularly Shri Shivamji today. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So starting today on this topic of joyous living, Imam Ali once said, "Be like a flower that gives its fragrance, even when it's crushed by the hands that hold it." We human beings are also, we are like seeds. We belong to a garden. The question is, what garden and of what planting? We think very little about our lives in terms of what is our growth when we think about spiritual growth, unfolding of our inner true self. We barely discern the seed-like nature of ourselves. And we are covered, the outer world is like a flower. And we are also sometimes in the pod, like peas in a pod, covered, but hardly ever unfold that true self, the true nature, which is hidden silently as an embryo. And very few people are privileged enough to uncover that new beingness. And our journey is also really about unfolding that new beingness. We search for ways to harmonize the various conflicts that are there, external as well as internal. But do we ever succeed, really? When you think about a gardener in a garden, the gardener is very, very well practiced in sprouting the seeds. They know how to cultivate them, how to grow them. But what about the garden of our hearts? Who cultivates them? And what can we do to bring forth that blossoming of the spirit and evolve into the new consciousness that we all talk about so endearingly? What I believe personally in my experience is that when you are ready, the gardener appears. The gardener in the form of a guru appears. And something similar happened to me 4 years back when Shri Shivamji made himself known to me. And in that journey, the first time that we met, one of the things that he said that still sticks to me, and that is also a core philosophy, is that when we come in the presence of an enlightened being, an elevated soul, their light that is burning inside them is so bright that it helps light other lights as well. And once our light is lit brighter, then it becomes our purpose and our mission to help others to see that light and light it within. So the way that I felt transformation in my life over the last 3 years, 3 to 4 years, I would like to share a couple of things with you. 3 things that really, there are so many transformational moments, but 3 things I want to talk about today. One is helping me transcend from fear to a state of fearlessness. I think that's such a big deal when I look back at my life. So many things that held me back were because of fear of something. And being able to transcend that fear gives such a feeling of liberation. And then you expand, your consciousness expands with that, when we can be in a state of fearlessness. The second thing that is also work in progress, but really important one, is mindfulness. Everybody talks about mindfulness. It is a journey, and I continue to learn every day. Every time I have a conversation with Guruji, he will raise a question in that conversation or interaction. He will point out something, and that makes me more mindful. And I feel like over the years, today, I am much more conscious of what my thought is, what my word is, and what my action is. And like I said, it is a journey to raise our consciousness to the next level. Third and most important thing I feel is the being in complete flow of joy and complete flow of divine love. And that's such a powerful energy that Shri Shivamji brings with him, that nobody is untouched if you open your heart and listen and feel the presence. And how do we extend it to all beings? And that is one of the purposes. So Shri Shivamji, he's the founder, like Ganesh said, of Shivoham Foundation, which is an international non-profit organization. He himself is a humanitarian, a visionary, and a contemporary thinker who believes that possibility of self-realization is available to each and every individual. And that is also his mission, to bring that. Besides that, there are 3 initiatives that we consciously focus on. One is about planting trees, saving the planet. And there is an oath that he's taken of doing planting 700,000 trees across. The other one is the Zero Hunger campaign that we run for feeding poor children. And this is, again, something that we take from city to city, and we intend to really take it global. This is also UN's second development goal, Zero Hunger. And third is about empowerment and education for all beings. And in the corporate sector, particularly, he has done tremendous amount of work. So just to share a few examples, almost close to 70,000 people at Axis Bank, leaders as well as managers, are going through the Stay Positive program that has been running there for last 2.5 years. Many, many lives have been touched and transformed through that initiative. There is programs that he's done for women leadership on self-mastery, on mindfulness, on conscious leadership. So several corporates have engaged with him on also creative visualization of manifesting goals. So how do you manifest your goals through creative visualization techniques? He teaches also ancient meditation and yogic nidra techniques as well. So there's a long list, but in today's session, coming back to today's session, he'll be speaking on joyous living. In this theme, we are going to cover 3 things: uncovering the hidden gems of this beautiful life and understanding its purpose. He will share his own personal experiences with true examples and pearls of wisdom through his own journey of transcendence. So with that, very, very warm welcome to you, Guruji, and over to you.
Namaste to all dear ones. In our everyday life, we see so many things which trigger so many emotions within us. Sometimes sadness, sometimes happiness, but there is something for which we are constantly in search. what is that which we are looking for? Whatever we want in our life, we can achieve it. But the strange thing is, we are not aware of what is this which we are looking for. The very basic question comes, are we living? And also, if we are living, what is this life for? The purpose of being alive. There is a word in Sanskrit, pravira, which means a very courageous one. Who is pravira? One who is very courageous to live in totality. One has to be so courageous to take a jump into the totality of life, to live a very extraordinary life. But what we see around us is absolutely the opposite. There is cowardness all around, and that is because there is lack of self-knowledge. We procrastinate the relevant and attempt the irrelevant. One of the Buddha's disciples asked Buddha, Bhagwan, what is the biggest mistake we make in life? Buddha replied, the biggest mistake is you think you have time. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own time. Once it is gone, it is gone. You can never get it, even if you give all your wealth and possessions. And I have seen people who are so busy that they hardly have time to smile. This worldly affair will keep you so busy because there is no end to it. It is the matter of 99 to 100. Every time you desire to add 1 to make it 100. Have you ever seen small children playing on the sea beach, collecting seashells and colored stones? For what purpose? Without any purpose. To find the purpose is the mind's job. A child is full of innocence, so pure and gentle, it gives birth to sheer joyfulness. No future exists for the child, because future is the psychological aspect of our mind. A mature man won't be able to feel the joy, because for that, one has to drop the mask, which we all are wearing. And remember, this is not an N95 mask which you can remove easily. The invisible mask, which we are also not even aware of. This is the barrier. The barrier which is creating a vacuum in our life, which doesn't allow us to be playful. There is a Swedish proverb, live conscientiously, laugh often, and happiness is certainly yours. The secret of a happy life can be summed up as follows: fear less, hope more, whine less, breathe more, talk less, say more, hate less, love more, and all good things are yours. In Sanskrit, there is a saying, Chitte prasanne bhuvanam prasannam, Chitte vishranane bhuvanam vishranam, Ato bhilasho yadite sukhe syat, Chitt prasade prathamam yatasva. If the mind is happy, the entire world seems happy. If the mind is despondent, the entire world seems despondent. Hence, if you desire happiness, strive towards the happiness of the mind first. The realization of our joyful being is the only way to experience that which is eternal, which is our very own, yet we are far at distance. That distance is of our mind. Letting go of mind is the path towards ourself, which is Anand Stotra, the source of bliss. It is your mind that chooses to be happy and not the surroundings. Sometimes external events do happen that bring joy, but always leaning on such events to elate us is kind of impractical. I have heard there was once a truly miserable land where everyone was depressed. There was no reason for this to be so. The people were normal and they led normal lives, but they were very sad. One day, a baby boy was born. He was a really good child, always thinking of others, always clean and tidy, always quick to do as he was told. He was equally good in all such matters. As a result, the boy managed to cheer up everyone around him. People saw him and wanted to be like him. So they behaved cheerfully and in turn cheered up others. The boy traveled the whole land, bringing smiles to people's faces and happiness to their hearts. He ended up transforming the entire country from one of sadness and depression to one which could even be called happy land. This boy doesn't exist in reality. It is the story of every individual. You are that. What can you do to make everyone happy? Or let me ask you a very significant question. When will you be happy? In the future? Or in the past? No. Then when? The only way to be in joy is in this moment, here and now. Now is the opportunity. Now is life. Live it and drink it fully before it's too late. Now let us sit for a moment, everyone. You may like to close your eyes and just look within and ask few questions to yourself. What is the source of my joy? How joyful I am. Where am I standing? What can I do to be more joyful? Just think through and find out. The answer lies within. And don't pressurize yourself. Just see what comes. Be at ease. Silent. And gently open your eyes. Thank you for this beautiful session. And now we can take few questions.
Great. So if there are any questions, please, you can put down in chat. You can unmute yourself and speak as well. Mr. Jalan, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Please.
Many times we see the joy externally. If something happens in this worldly affairs, then we think that we will get the joy by means of that event happening to us or not happening to us. But the real joy comes from within and not because of these worldly affairs. So how to concentrate on that joy and we get immune to the external events which we think that causes joy to us.
See, till now, we have been focusing on misery, sadness, and all the worldly affairs which we face in our day-to-day life. We have never asked how to experience sadness, how to experience depression, how to experience the misery. To experience misery is not a question. When we make the gap between the self and our identity, that is misery. The original nature is of joy. To experience our original nature is being joyful. So it's not the matter of questioning how to be joyful. The question is why we are not joyful. And the answer is because we are so much engrossed in this world and we are so much focused in this mundane life, which leads to a miserable life, which is not a fulfilling life. And because we are so much focused outside, we are unable to look within. And that is where the joy lies. Because being joyous is you. Being joyous is being you, the original self. It is like asking a flower, how can I get the fragrance? The original nature of the flower is fragrance. If there is no fragrance, then it means there is a problem. There is something which is not right. So one must ask this question, what is this something which is not right? And the moment we reflect, we definitely get the answer. And that answer is very transformational. That answer is very transcendental, because that is the only answer which can really bring a joyous life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody question from the team?
Can I say something?
Please.
Yeah.
Another-
Anu, go ahead.
Yeah. You know, what you say is very true. Having got everything in life, you know, we do waste our, lose our happiness over small irritants. Not even irritants compared to the problems that people face. So let me ask you a question. The people who have real problems for which there are no solutions, like utter poverty, abuse from the family, disability in the family, you know, how do these people can achieve joy? Because there are too many of them. We cannot think, you know, we cannot lose track of that. It's easy to think about the upper 20% percentile who are okay. But there are a majority or mass population who are real problems. So what do you say? How can they get a joy?
So if you see in 1947, when India got independence, there was so much chaos in the country and everybody was wondering, what can we do? Because India was a very rich country and India has almost everything. But after independence, we experienced poverty, we experienced a sudden degradation in our whole economy, education, and everywhere. But who is the responsible for this is the question. And even now, we have tremendous opportunities. But for that, we have to look around. I have seen people who have everything, but when you ask them, they will give you 1,000 excuses of not being happy. And a one who has renounced everything, you can find happiness in that renunciation. And the one who is living in the palace, it is not important that the person is very happy. So one thing is very significant, that the material world can never give happiness. And if the material world can never give happiness, then what is something which can give us happiness? As we discussed, there is nothing in this external world which can give us happiness. Because we are living on this planet Earth, which is called Mrityu Loka. And Mrityu Loka simply means man is mortal. And if man is mortal, then there are definitely miseries, there are problems. And I tell you, if there are problems, and if you see the problems not as a problem, but a quest, a search, then this can give you the path. I have heard that if there would be no death, then there would be no God. We think of God because there is death, because there is misery. We want to overcome with that misery and wish to experience something which is beyond that misery. And this is the difference between a human being and other species. Human beings have mind, and that mind can question. So I would say one should ask this question to the self. Why am I feeling miserable? What can I do better about it? Everyone wishes to change the society. What am I doing with myself? And I tell you, if you can do something with yourself, then definitely you can add value in the society, which can further give multiplier effect. And if each and every individual thinks about the self-growth and that happy mindset, that growth mindset can make this planet more cheerful, more joyful, and more blissful.
Yeah,
Umesh,
anybody else?
I have a question if I may.
Yeah, yeah.
Shivamji, what you said
Yeah.
is very interesting because I mean we've all heard about the ways to salvation, dharma, karma, moksha, but and of course Rotary Club is naturally very well known for the amount of service we do, even including in this club. So just a thought struck me saying that look, obviously there is a great amount of joy one can achieve by meditation, by looking inwards. There is also an equal amount of joy that many of us, including myself, get by serving society. So where do you think lies the greater joy? I mean, is it discovering yourself or discovering a pathway towards the sustainable development goals that Mridula talked about, or really doing work for humanity?
See, one has to live in totality. When we focus on one area of life, then there is a fragmentation in that life. And one who lives in totality lives 200% life. 100% work life, family, and that comes profession as well. And rest of the 100% is your own self. Because if we are so much focused outside, then we tend to lose the connect with the self. And if we are too much focused within, then that is also, I don't feel, a complete life, because there is something which we are missing. Because when we are born on this planet, then there are few duties, few responsibilities with which we all are here. You have to earn your bread, you have to wear your clothes, and you have to live, if not luxurious, then a fulfilling life. So I feel living in totality is very important. And that totality can give strength to both the areas, personal as well as professional. So I feel there should be no gap between personal and professional life. How to bridge a gap is one individual's choice. And there are many ways, because as we say, truth is a pathless land. So that pathless land, how can we bridge the gap? How can we add values and make our lives blissful?
Great. Yes, Mr. Ramananda.
Can you explain a little bit more on this connection between the personal and professional, sir?
See, there is a very deep connection between personal and professional. But what we have done is, we have separated that this is me, this is mine, this is I. And we see our professional life differently. But personal and professional life is actually one. There is no difference. What you do with yourself has a great effect on your professional life.
Sure.
And what you do with your professional life has a great impact on your personal life, which we say Purak. They both complete each other. So being in harmony simply says harmonizing your personal and professional relationships. And when you are in the harmony with your personal self, then you can experience that harmony in your professional life as well. Vice versa. If you experience harmony in your professional life, you can experience harmony in your personal life. So being in harmony is very important. Harmonizing self makes the environment more joyful, and our surroundings become very positive. Because ultimately what we are radiating that around us. And that can not only help this physical self, this can help the people with whom we are associated with. Our peers, our juniors, our seniors, everyone. So one must live in such a way which is full of harmony, which further gives joy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone more question?
I have,
Oh,
if there are
yeah.
no questions, I have one question.
yeah, continue.
Yeah. When Anuradha asked her question about people suffering and there is so much pain in the external world, I got reminded of this Jewish psychologist, Viktor Frankl, Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was a doctor. He was caught in the Nazi camps and he went through complete extreme conditions. And he was one of the survivors of those camps. So one of the statements of his that really inspires me is he says that when you are no longer able to change your circumstances, you are forced to change yourself. And when you are able to change yourself, then the magic happens and you find that inner strength. And I think that was his reason in that book, Man's Search for Meaning, that he found his inner strength. And despite all extremities, he was able to survive the camp and come back and tell the story and heal many, many other people through their traumas, you know. So that was one part, is how in every day-to-day life, we don't go through those extremities, but sometimes there are ups and downs, and sometimes we feel high and great, and sometimes we feel low. When we are feeling low, and even when we are practicing mindfulness, we realize that, okay, right now I'm not feeling great. How does one then reconnect back to oneself and come back into that state of joyfulness? And does breath have anything to do with that? So I'd love to hear your answer to that.
So as you mentioned about Viktor Frankl, so he has worked a lot on logotherapy. What is logotherapy? So the theory is founded on the belief that human nature is motivated by the search for a life purpose. The pursuit of that meaning for one's life. And if you see your own life, as we discussed, sometimes pain is also very helpful. Sometimes setback in life is also very helpful. Because when you experience setbacks in your life, that is not to degrade you. So experiencing setback sounds like a very derogatory term, but actually it is not. If you see, there are so many possibilities in that setbacks. Because that is where, and that is the moment in which we can experience our own strength. So for example, if you are living a normal life, you're waking up early in the morning, you are going to your 9-to-5 job and coming back to home, do you really think you can experience your strength? No. Because there is a very subtle pattern in your life. First, you have created that pattern, and now you are moving in your life according to that pattern. And because of this pattern, you're unable to experience your strength, which further takes you to experience your weaknesses. And when suddenly there are problems in our life, we say that, how can I deal with this? Because you have never prepared. There was no preparation. We prepare for the next day of what I have to do in my office, what I have to cook, but we never prepare for the life. And when there is so much peace and calmness and happiness in our life, we never think. And when there is misery, sorrow, inevitable experiences, then we think what to do. दुख में सुमिरन सब करें, सुख में करे न कोई, which simply reminds, when there are pains, we think about what to do. And when there is happiness, we never think. Being with your own self and being reflective is very important. Introspection is very important. A constant reminder to your own self is very important. Then only you can experience what is the source of my strength, how can I leverage my strength and transmute my weaknesses into strengths.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Anybody
much.
else?
Hi, this is Garima, and I have a quick one on the previous one as well. I had the similar question as Vidula earlier, like how to experience the happiness in our daily life. We have already answered that on this, and then you have also answered it is also beyond our comfort zone. That is when we know our strengths. Is there, a quick thing that all of us in this group can do in our daily life starting today? Other than introspection, like any small thing that we can start doing, and that can bring us a little awareness and bring us closer to what we really need to do.
Just waking up in the morning and watching to your own self and reminding yourself that just smile, and following the rest of the day without losing that smile is itself very deep practice. Because we tend to miss what we really deserve. And we deserve smile. We deserve to be happy. because that is what we are. And awareness simply says, remember your original nature. And in the morning, when you wake up, if a being is aware, then whole 24 hours, you can experience that joy. You can experience that positivity. You can experience that cheerfulness. And that is very powerful. That is very deep practice. It sounds like very simple, but simple things are very difficult, or I would say very deep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I
Last
also
one
wanted
question.
Okay.
Yeah, you can carry on, Mridula ji.
No, if there is a question, then we will just wait. Otherwise,
I think that you have a question or you have a discussion point.
no, I just wanted to share that since we are coming to the end of the conversation, yes, of course, if there is a question, please feel free to speak up. But I wanted to also share that if any of you would like to connect with Shivamji, then you can reach out to Ganesh. You have his number. I will put my number on the chat as well. There are lots and lots of content and resources on YouTube and various other Telegram group where there are short affirmations to relax yourself, to build self-confidence, to connect with your own self, affirmations like I am enough. They are really beautiful resources. So if you are interested, you can go visit those sites. I can share it in the chat, those links, along with my content, my phone number as well, in case you would like to connect. So over to you, Mr. Jalan.
Yeah. I think that I will have a last small question, and then I will go for vote of thanks formally. Externally, many times we are getting the joy scenario, and many due to external events, we are getting misery scenario, sadness scenario, and the adverse things whereby we are unhappy. So is it that when we are having the adverse conditions, at that time we switch to oneself, and the other time we get engrossed with this worldly events when it's a joyous moment, happiness moments and all that, or all the time we have the awareness and mindfulness even in the joyous scenario? How do we practice that? I want a tip on that.
See, we are so full of the baggage on our shoulders, which doesn't allow us to feel how it is to be free and empty. And because we are unable to experience that freeness within us, we tend to lose the connect with ourselves. And that gives us a different direction. And we move in a different direction, which is a detour from our own self. Becoming baggage free and simply just living without giving a second thought to life. And whatever comes on the way, just welcome it. And I feel acceptance is very important. The biggest problem is we don't accept things. Sometimes acceptance is very, very powerful and very helpful. Because lack of acceptance simply says that you are not ready to face the situation. and you try to control the situations accordingly. Yes, of course, being a human being, we wish to experience everything as per our own self, as per our own mind. And we tend to control certain things till such limit. But what after that? It is like fighting with yourself. Who will win? Nobody will win. Only you will lose. So who will win is not the question. We are losing is the answer. And why we are losing? Because we are fighting. Giving an end to the fight, the constant fight in which we all are in, and just accepting and living freely and simplifying the difficult areas of our life is the only way to experience the state which we wish to experience or which our mind loves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
I think there's one more
Uh,
question, is it?
yeah, Rohit, last one.
Not a
Continue.
question, but I have an announcement for the club.
Okay.
This year we started with a bank, and in the last 12 days at HV Desai Eye Hospital, we have completed 12 surgeries, cataract surgeries for our Rotary Club, free of cost. So the members' inputs were given, including one where one of the employees of the race course was hit by a horse and the eye was supposed to go. The doctors in the city where they showed, they said we could not work on it, but at the hospital, we took him and we saved the eye also. And that's how total 12 surgeries have been completed in this first 12 days. And one more good news is that Rotary Club of Senegal from the USA, from which we were working with Kohler, has sent a mail today. They will request the funds for the Rotary Foundation to come to you directly as soon as possible. Thank you.
That's a very, very good news. And thank you for your service to the community, Rohit, as always. Thanks to you. So I will go ahead with the formal vote of thanks. Shivam, you have touched upon a very, very meaningful topic of joyous living, which all of us aspires to, and that is very evident from the questions put in by the attendees to this meeting. The take on the joyous living is that we have to look for a complete life, which is very, very inciting deliberations you have done. And I think that it's very difficult to have a complete and fulfilled life. We have to practice it more and more, and the results will come only by the intensive practicing of it, not otherwise. Thank you, Mridula, very much for moderating the session and getting us the insight of the joyous living by putting your questions to Shivam. And what a wonderful start of the year with such a lovely speaker. This at the beginning of this year, Rotary year, I am thankful to Ganesh for bringing such a lovely speaker, and thanks to all the participants for joining today. Last one, that we have a practice of having a joke at the end of every speaker meeting. So I will invite our past president Sandeep Vyas to crack a joke for the day. Sandeep, you are muted. Yes.
Yes, I'm unmuted now. Thank you, Umesh, and good morning, everybody. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to the group over here. So there was this big corporate meeting going on, and the chairman was addressing the board. And it was the performance meeting they were having for the previous year. And he was not in a very good mood. And all of a sudden, the phone starts ringing. And he puts it on the loudspeaker. And then he realizes what a big mistake he's made. The lady on the other side says, honey, listen, I'm in this mall and I've run a bill of $14,000. I know you would not say anything. I just thought, let me ask you before I approve that. He says, no, nothing. Please go ahead. All on the house. No, don't worry. He said, actually, that is not the thing I called you for. You know, right across, there is this jewelry shop. And this item I liked, and I'm really in love with that. Just 70 grand. And I'm sure, you know, you will not deprive me of it. He says, 70 grand. Okay. I think this is the least I can do for you. Go ahead. Honey, the thing is, my card is overrun. So I was wondering if I could use your card for that. He said, sure, go ahead. No problem. Absolutely. He says, actually, to tell you what, you know, this neighbor which we have down the road, about 6 bungalows down the road, and he has a really cute house, and I've pointed it out to you so many times. I just banged into him, and he says he's migrating, he's leaving the country, and he's got this lovely yacht. And I got talking to him. He says that he wants to dispose it off, and it's been on mind to have a yacht for a long, long time. So you know what he said, that actually this is priced at $450,000. But if I decide today, you know, he will, and moreover, we are neighbors, he likes us. So he will give it to us for $350,000. He said, $350,000. Actually, what you do is, just make sure, you know, all the paperwork is in order and the boat is in good condition, and he gives us the parking bay for a year. And I think it's a deal. Go ahead. He says, you are such a sweet guy. I really wish everybody had a husband like you. You know, one last thing. This house of his, you know how much I have been having my eyes on it. And I just got talking to him, and he said, this is priced at $450 million. And if I give him a check of $1 million today, he will let it go for 350. He said $3.5 million. My God. But, you know, honey, anything for you. See if you can bring him down by another $250,000. And I think we have a deal. He says, you are the best. And the phone goes off. This guy very irritated. He says, whose phone is this? And so many times I've told you guys to keep your phones on silent when you're in the meeting.
Thank you, Sandeep.
So there is one joke.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, please share one joke. So I said, God is always joking. Look at your own life. It is a joke. Look at other people's life, and you will find jokes and jokes and jokes. And I tell that person, seriousness is illness. Seriousness has nothing spiritual about it. And spirituality is laughter. Spirituality is joy. Spirituality is fun. You know, these days people are so gloomy and so sad that they want a joke to laugh. But I simply say, you don't need a joke to laugh. Just simply look into the mirror and you will start laughing, because you yourself is the biggest joke. Because God is the biggest joker, and he has made all of us a smiling joker. And there are people who are very sad and still they are jokers, but they don't know that they know how to laugh. So I'm so happy and thankful to all of you for such a lovely morning on this auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima. And I'm receiving so many messages in the chat box. And thank you so much for your lovely appreciation. I wish to say thank you from the deep of my heart and gratitude. Over to you, Mridula, for the closure.
Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for the wonderful questions also from the participants. I think the engagement was so beautiful and your questions brought in so much more insight. So thank you all. And thank you so much, Guruji. And I wish you a very, very, very happy Guru Purnima. Happy Guru
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now we have so many people at my place and everybody is waiting for me. So I will take a leave and we will further go into Guru Purnima celebrations now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Namaste to you all.
We call off this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.